Hey, hi guys.
Hi. Mm.
Okay, think shall we wait for a few more minutes? Let's see.
Yeah.
So, you are able to see the videos. You guys have access to those videos, right? I'm putting that in the
Yeah,
channel.
yes.
Okay. So whatever we are recording, I'm just putting it.
Yes.
There is no way that I can modify or something, or keeping them in Google Drive. It's very limited, or you may not get access when you want it. Okay, I'll try to uh, put some chapter numbers to that. Okay, and put them in series. So it might help sometime. Okay. Any questions from previous class? Anyone had any doubts on that? Okay, I'll take that as a no, and we'll carve out. Okay, I think last class we covered constructors and destructors. Okay, so what is the importance of constructors and how we can initialize the uh, content in the constructors. Okay, so this class we'll start our talk about certain things like mutable, certain keywords like mutable and constants. So in a class, how do you declare a constant and how do you initialize them? Okay, so such things we will cover, and the static members. I think static members we already covered when we were talking about uh, structures, but we'll go through some examples on static members. So we'll get some significance. So how to utilize it. Okay. Um, okay. Or this, I haven't made any notes. I mean, any programs, but we'll write some programs, setters, getters, and we have parameterized constructors. Think. Okay, that is. This is next. I'll cover it. Okay. Okay. So we'll just modify them. File names. So in this class, what are we trying to do or cover would be like uh, so in previous classes we just discussed about having a local variables, right? So what are the other type of variables that we can declare? So they can be like constants. You can have some constants in your applications, right? Okay. So what are these constants? So I think this is similar to what we find in C. So they are always constants. So no matter uh, oh, how many instances you create, the content of this will be remain same, and you will not have you know no matter how many functions you write. Hey, sorry guys. It's on the road. Okay, so this constants will remain same, and no matter what functions you write, and using this, you will not be able to change the contents of this variables. Like using setters and getters, you will not be able to change the contents of this. Okay, so we'll just copy this.
So just I want to ask something.
Mhm.
So class is like data type, house.
Uh, so if we okay, the class, when people ask, right, what is a right question, like class is a blueprint of a collection of uh, member functions and member variables. Okay, so it's like uh, so you can find definitions from different books. It's okay, it is similar to structures. Okay, it is same as structures. There is the only difference between structures and classes is the contents of the classes are by default private, the content of structures are by default public. That's a main difference between structures and classes. So what is it that classes provide is it provides you the member variables, members that you can declare, whatever the variables that you want to declare on top of that, and member functions. Functions are group of function calls which are specifically that you write to do operation on these variables. Okay, so whatever operations that you want to do on this, you write some functions and you say these functions are used to modify the contents of this. That's all. So it's class is like it's a collection of members and member functions which we use to only to modify the contents of this and get the results out of it. So
Then what is the difference between public and private?
okay, okay, public means the functions are visible outside. So you would have a main functions. From that, you can call whatever the public functions that you have. Public functions or public variables that you have, right? You can access them through this in a separate function, in a main, or you can write some other function inside that you can declare the class, and you can use those contents. So
We cannot use the private functions.
you cannot call private functions from an outside from a different functions. So I think
Oh,
in the previous class, or I have given that uh, explanation what are public,
Yeah,
what are
yeah,
private.
got it. Actually, because of my project urgency, I'm unable to attend the classes regularly. So,
No, but the videos are recorded. Like
yeah, yeah, yes,
whenever
fine,
you
sir.
get
I will
free
go
time,
through it.
just go through them. So it
Yeah,
is just that you once you create an instance of it, right, you will not be able to access them. I'll explain you that
yeah,
as well in this.
yeah.
So
Okay, sir. Thank you.
okay. So it is just that so constant means generally you declare it and you try to get the contents out of it. Okay. So in this, what we can do is okay. Now we'll just rename this. Uh, what is this? Const mutable. Okay, const mutable in that class. We'll just rename this. Okay, we'll use this. So we'll declare our classes with these names. So it is just for our understanding. So that file we don't want to confuse. Okay. So so const mutable in class will be our main application, which will make use of the class that you declare. Okay. So class mutable, we will have a .hpp file to say the blueprint. So this is something which will expose you to someone else. So like if you see if you import any code, right, any shared library or anything, you will always bothered about what is it that people are exposing. Means what is the .h file people are giving to you. So this is the .h file that you are trying to give to the external world. Okay. Now .cpp is your implementation, is the implementation of this class and what you are trying to do in this using these functions. Okay. So you would generally put that in a .cpp file. Okay. Here in .hpp file, there are few implementation that have written here because it is acceptable because it is just single line and they are inline to to say the to say or to tell to the compiler to uh, try to optimize the code. So whenever you find such function, just replace them with this instruction directly than making a function call. Okay, that's why we have it. Okay, now let's create an instance of this. So const mutable is our okay, const mutable is our data type, or you can say data type, or is our class. Okay, then we'll create some variable out of it. Okay, so when we create something like this, so what happens? So you are not passing any parameter here. So by default constructor, whatever that is there, that will be called. So which is nothing but this is a default constructor. This will be called. And what will this do? This will call this. Okay, default constructor is this. So this will call this. Here would ask for some console input, and you will fill the other two variables. Okay, and let's see, we will let's print let's have a print function. We have a print val function which will print the contents. Okay, let's add what is the variable that we declared by. Okay, we have this. Okay, okay. So this will print the contents of it. Okay, let's see. Let's try to compile this and see what happens. Let's create the directory media. Okay, CMake file is fine. Let's see if there is anything wrong. Const des.h, no such file or directory. What is the file that we are given? Const mutable. So one more place. Okay, what comes? So it is asking us for input, prints a value of identity, enter some symbol. I'll enter some percentage. Okay. See, const mutable print val. In print val, we added the contents, whatever that we wanted. So the default, it's initialized mean we don't need to initialize it. It's always constant. So it will remain it. Now the object got destroyed. So in the destruction, we have written to print only these two. So it is only printing these two. We haven't written any function, I mean anything to print the pi value. So we are not saying this. If you want, we'll just add it. So we'll just add. I think we should use our previous classes notes where we added print function templates so that whatever variables that are coming, right, we'll use them. So just printed destroyed. So this is the introduction for const. Okay. So now what kind of problems that we see with the const keyword? Anyone can take a guess with this?
What is the question?
So
Const
what is the
keyword.
problems that you can see?
The constant value of pi.
Yeah, by declaring something as constant. So what can be the problems that we might see?
Oh, instead of constant double, you need to use the constant one, right?
Yeah.
Yes. But I think jump value will be fine.
Okay. So
Can you throw the jump value?
we
So this one was
so okay, there are many things. See, first thing, this is repeated along all the instances that you create. Okay, so if you are creating 10 objects now, I'm just creating array of 10. Okay, so what will happen? So what will happen? It will create 10 such classes, and everywhere you are having a variable which is constant, which is always constant. Okay, so you are creating 10 variables which is having the same value. So how to optimize it? Is there a way we can optimize it? Like,
Maybe we can use as a global, so we can
then
remove it from class.
why you want to declare it as global? Apart from being global, then we are not uh, uh, what should I say? We are not writing this in object oriented way, because pi is I mean, here I'm given it as pi. Okay, but assume it is not something which you want to share to someone else outside. So in order to avoid 10 instances, right? Okay, among all the objects that you create. So what is the other thing that you can do?
Static,
Yeah, good. So we can declare this static. So the moment you declare this static, what happens? So basically, if you have constants, right, there is no point in what should I say, declaring or creating multiple instances of the same keyword in different objects. So you can better declare it as constant, I mean static, and you can declare it as inline. So so any, no matter how many instances you create, there will be only one instance of it. Okay, so we'll see the size of a class later. There you will understand uh, for what would be the size of the whole array for this. Let's try this, whether we can do it here itself. Why wait? So what is size of will print the collection of functions that you have here. Okay, number of functions that you have, it's going to print. So assume, okay, I just removed the constants, the staticness here. So the size of should be integer, which is 4 bytes plus 1 plus double, or and plus some padding that it would add. Okay, so let's see. Oh god. Okay, so please enter some value symbol. So the size of the class it came was 60. Okay, size was 16, maybe because it has double is longer one. So it is 8 plus 4 12, and plus 1 13, and 3 for padding. Okay, so now let's see, we make it an array.
So what is the padding one?
Sorry,
What
padding,
is padding one?
padding concept. Okay, I'll tell you the padding concept. So the right way to explain is via Excel. So in memory, right, how the data will be stored? Okay, how when you declare variables, how they're going to be stored, that is what matters. So now, so assume this is your memory. Okay, so since mine is a 64-bit machine, okay, so each memory address will have 4 bytes allocated. Okay, or it's 8 bytes. It's allocated for us to store some contents. Okay, so when I declare any integers, okay, when I declare any integer, so here I have declared identity, which is an integer. So integer is 4 bytes. So it is going to store 4 bytes here. Okay, this whole thing is assigned to identity. Okay, now next thing, what I have declared is character. Okay, so character ka size is what? Just 1. Okay, so character ka
Yes.
size is just 1. So it will declare, it will assign this part of, let me color code. Color code is ah, okay. So assume here is where your integer has a lot, and char will be inserted somewhere here. Okay, now what is the next character, next data type, which is a double? Double ka size is 8. Okay, so double means 8, so it needs 8 bytes. It can, so any allocation that it wants, it cannot place it here. So what it will do is it will start to allocate from start address. That's how the allocations is done for non-character types. It will try to put it so that you can access from here. Okay, now this whole thing is allocated for your structure or a class. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, these 3 sections are wasted. These 3 memory locations are wasted. Okay, so that's the reason you are seeing the size of this as 16 here. Okay, now if I put one more character here,
The Slack part you are saying, right?
slack means, sorry,
Yeah, Slack means that wastage part of
here whatever that's left here, right? So see,
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
allocation depends on how you have placed define the how you have declared your class. If I put a symbol here which is next to char, so the allocation will be here. Okay, now if I declare this variable at the end, so the compiler will put that here. Okay,
It's same as a structure padding. Structure padding
it's the same,
method.
there is no difference. So,
Okay, that's
so
fine.
now I declared this one more symbol. I'm not initializing it. I don't want to. Did I save it? Const mutable created. Okay, it's array. Sorry, it's an array, right? That it is going to take. See, the size still remains at 16. Okay, so though I have declared one more variable, some other symbol uh, here, the size still remains at 16. Okay, now let's remove it. Now let's come to our main problem. So I declared this as I don't want to. Let's do. Let me initialize it. I don't want to type it. Okay. Okay, so now I declared a variable, an array of 2 instances of class. So I have initialized them as well. Initialized means I'm trying to call this constructor. Okay, so these two will be filled. So there is no point in this. There is always a constant. Okay, let's make it. Wait. It. I didn't save it. Sorry. Okay. See, now size is 32. So whatever the initialization that you did, it took. Now the size is 32. So which means the pi has been allocated twice. Okay, in both the memory location it has been allocated. So the size has become 32. Okay. Now let's see. Let's try to optimize it. Can we optimize it? Const static of static. Let's see how it does. It says 16. It is different. Wait, there's something wrong. Shouldn't it be more than 16? So what became static here? Okay. Now I'll tell you why. Okay. So this, I think this would have went outside. So this is the static members are no longer part of the class. So it went outside of the class. So the size is effectively this plus. Okay, I'll copy paste it. Okay. So the moment you declare something as static here, right? So static members doesn't become part of your class. Okay, they will be moved out of the class. So they would be almost considered as global, but they are accessible only through your class or scope of this class. Only class members can access them. So the compiler will internally declare them in a different memory segment, and they will remove them out of this class. Okay. So now the effective size is this one ka this one. So first var1, this is your var1. Okay, whose size is 8. This is var of 0. This is var of 0 and var of index. Of 0. Okay, this is what it happens. So that's the reason the size was 16. Now we'll verify it. We'll add one more character like what we did earlier, and we'll see whether the size still remains at 16. Okay, so we are declaring 2 characters. Okay, inside the same class. Let's see. See, the size still remains at 16. Now let's play around. Okay, we'll remove this from here. Okay, we'll put it at the top.
So how that is 16 means integer, it is of 4, right? And character is
Integer is
1.
4,
What
character
yes?
is 1.
1.
These 3 wasted.
Okay.
These 3 are wasted, but they become part of your class. This is the wasted memory location. which is part of your class, which you are not utilizing or no one can use it.
Means it will be counted as a 8 16.
Now I have declared some char. Now we'll see, since this is outside, right? Char I have put it outside, so it would allocate here. Now the size should be somewhere around 12. We'll see whether my compiler will optimize it. So now it became 24. Yeah. Why? Because what is this? Now some char is here. Now it is again here. Now wasted. This is your wasted part. All the things that you're seeing in yellow is wasted. Okay. What was the name of this? Some symbol, right? Okay. So 12 plus 12 became 24. So that's a significance. Okay. So whenever you are declaring constants, make sure you try to optimize your code. That's all I would say. So just for that, I had this example. Any questions on this? Now we'll go through the how we can make utilize of static inside a key.
So go to that end main function. So here we are not initialize any
Pi.
character one. No, not pi one character. First
This
to
one,
define
some
the
char, right?
yes,
This
yes,
one.
some character, yes.
No, that
Yes.
is up to us, right? हमको initialize करना है. If you want to initialize, you need to put one more argument here and initialize it. Whether it's initialized or not, some garbage value will be inside this. So it is just like your structure, where if you initialize it, it will have some value. If you not initialize it, it will have some garbage.
Okay.
I think
Then
last class I
automatically
have
it is taking as a garbage.
sorry.
Yeah, automatically it is taken as a that garbage value only.
Yeah, garbage value it will print. We'll just, if you want, I'll print it. We'll just print it. Print value, some value we have at the end. So we'll do this in the destruction part. Okay. What is it? Some char. So both the objects gets created, both the object gets destroyed. So when the object gets destroyed, we'll see what would be the sorry guys, I didn't see it, the timer. Okay. Okay, so what we did is I just added some character to the destructor. So when the object gets destroyed, it will print what is the contents of it. So if you see, it is printing some junk C followed by some special character. So const mutable destroyed. So it printed the int f and our constant that we declared, and followed by junk value. If you see your code, the integer, the symbol, there are spaces. Next we have the constant, the pi that we declared, and followed by some chunk character that we have in it. Okay.
But it is reading, right? But that it is printing.
It's printing some chunk
the
value.
pi value. No, the pi value it is
Pi
printing,
value
but
is printing. Pi value will print.
yes.
Pi value, we didn't do anything to pi, right? Pi
Yes.
is constant. You have access to pi. You get
But
it.
that static constant is working as a global one. Right?
It's not working. What would I say is in your memory segments, right? That you have BSS segments or data segment. Okay, there is a
Yes,
const
yes.
data segments. Okay, so this variable will go and sit in that const data segments. Okay, whereas this will go and sit in your stack or heap. Okay,
So
so
mostly
since
the not initialized things will be stored in BSS, and initialized thing will be stored in stack. Right?
constants,
Means data variable.
constants will sit in what should I say, const databases or something. I don't remember that exactly. But let me, the article is on that.
Constant, it will be initialized. If it is initialized, then it will be stored in data segment.
Program
If not
segment, code segment. It has this thing like program segment. Memory layout in C, but so you have text segments, instruction, next initialized data, uninitialized data.
Yes, yes. This is
Something
the
like that.
initialized data
Then you
segment
have-
is stored in that.
Then you have
Correct, correct.
stack. So I think the static keywords is initialized, right? So it will go and sit here. Okay. So the other two variables will just go and sit in the stacks. Whatever the local variables that you're creating, they get on. So get
All the data type variables are stored in stack. In heap, that memory, dynamic memory will store in that heap.
Yes, whatever that you do malloc via malloc or new, they go and sit in the heap.
Yes.
So uninitialized is global variables which are not initialized. Text is your actual program.
Yes, yes. Global and static also, both also means static.
So
In
see,
C,
it's same as C. The memory initialization, it is same as C. Okay, there is no difference whether you are writing it on C or C++. They all are same. The way memory layout happens in C on C++, they both are same. Okay. Okay. So next thing I wanted to cover on the const is see, not just variables. You can write functions as const. I will repeat. You can write functions as constants. So what does a function as a constant mean? Function as a constant, when you say a function as a constant, right? So you are trying to say this function will try to access the variables, but it will not try to make any changes to the contents of the variables that it is trying to access. Okay. So if you see here, I declared this function at the end as constant. Okay. So, and this guy he's trying to return the contents of this variable, but you are not making any changes. You can return the contents of this. You can return the address of this or anything. Okay. But he would not make any changes. Okay. That is what you are trying to say, achieve with that. Okay. Whereas if you see here, right? If you see here, what is set symbol doing? Set symbol is taking an external character, okay, and copying it to internally declared some symbol. Okay. What did I do? Okay, it is declaring it to. Okay, sorry, but so what he's trying to do, he's taking and he's trying to change it. So is this a constant function? It's obviously not a constant function. So
No.
because he is trying to make changes to its contents. So I declared this as const. I don't see errors. Let's see if I declare this as const, what happens. So it is showing an error, what it is trying to say. Expression must be a modifiable L value. Okay. So which means you are not, whatever, which means you are not supposed to change the contents of this. The moment I remove this, okay, that error will be gone. Let's wait. See, that error is gone. Okay. So why would we use this, or what is the significance of this? Okay, this we can understand this when we are doing iterators. Okay, or you are trying to get references of some arrays. So assume you have some arrays and you are trying to iterate through them. Okay, that is when you would use such constants and all. So it is purely application based where. Hello. Yes. Someone had a question.
No.
Okay. Okay. So it is purely application based, like how you want to develop this app, this class, and how do you want to write this function. Okay, it is purely based on that. You say this. Okay. Next, we'll see. Is there a way? Can we bypass this? Okay, I have a function which I have declared as, in which I have declared which I declared as constant, but out of many variables, I just want to modify one of it. Let's see, is there any variable to do this? So the way is, see, okay. So what it is trying to do here is, so there is a keyword by name mutable, which you can use to say, I have a function which is constant, technically constant, which is trying to do some modification to one of the variable. Okay, so this should not be a right way. Okay, let's me give you some example itself. Okay, then okay,
What is
so
the
we have,
meaning by mutables?
okay, I'll give you a good example on this. Okay, let's go back to, so we have setters and getters, right? Okay, so generally mutable is not used in setters and getters. It is used in calculations wherever that you are trying to do. Okay, now let's have some result, character result. Okay, what he is going to do. Okay, so assume I have written a function by name add characters. So add characters, we are declaring it as add character. What it will do, for us, whatever will it is assume that here it will just add these two guys, these two characters, okay, and store the result into this. That is the job of this. Okay, so I'll just write a function by name add characters. Now what he's going to do? Okay, so so what is the job of this add character? What he will do is he will not make any changes to rest of the members, okay, which are the main part of your class, okay, but he would like to make change to only one variable, okay, which he is trying to store. It is like, okay, so assume that these are all are your main variables where you store the data. This is some temp variable where you store your results, okay, like how in a for loop you write your indexes, right? Your index or temp variable which you use to swap or counting, okay, you have such variables that you declared inside a class and you want to calculate it and store it temporarily, okay. It is just on such variables you would and you would want to do some operation so that it is just exchanged between the different functions, okay. So for such variables you can write functions which can do some operations of this. So what I can do this, if I want to allow this guy to make some changes to this, I just need to declare this as mutable. So the moment I declare this as mutable, this function will get, or any functions, or any function, any constant function get access to change this variable or assign some value to him, okay. So this, I think, so now you would not see any error. Let's print the results. Let me add it in the destructors. So we'll print the contents. So we'll print the contents during destruction. So I think the sum character will be junk plus, whereas the sum symbol is something what you have sent here. Okay, now let's do this. Let's call this add character function. So what we are declaring it, we are initializing it, and we are doing some add character. Okay, so that we are just trying to change. We have declared this function as constant, but using which we just want to try to change some one of the variable. Okay, inside it. Okay, size of also came. Why did size of didn't compile? What is this 25? No, what is this 25? Constructor, two objects got constructed. Where is the size? I didn't make a. Okay, I didn't build it. Okay, so now if you actually see the result, I mean earlier it was not built. Now I just built it again. Now if you see the result, so C plus F plus some jump character. Okay, and the other, where is it? What happened? Constant, some character followed by result. Result, maybe some junk character didn't print. Let's typecast int. So we'll get the int value of it. Okay. So so it had actually added the F and this and printed the result as 60. Okay, this is what it has done. So with this we can see we can change the content of this. So though the result was initialized to 0, okay, we have written a function, though it is declared as constant, with which we are not allowed to change the contents. Okay, we are still able to make changes. Okay, how we can make the changes? Okay, we declare only those variables which can be changeable as mutable. Okay, that's a way we can use this. Okay, so this importance maybe you will come to know later, and maybe not much, but this is something which was very much usable. Mutable is like it's not maybe a least used keyword. Okay, just I wanted to cover it, so it's as part of the syllabus that I had. Okay, any questions on this static or mutable part? Okay, if no, then I think I'll just cover the importance of static keyword. Okay, I think only 2 people are joined, rest didn't join. Dropped or what? Okay, so next one would be
What is means meaning of that mutable means general meaning of that.
general meaning of mutable means you are declaring okay, so you see generally people would write constant functions. Okay, so that and you will expose it to other guys. So the person who wrote class dot the constant mutable functions, right, he will write everything as constants and give it to a person on the other end. And person there is a different developer or a different team who will uh, use these classes. Okay, he will call different functions and all. Okay, but he wants to call a function, okay, which is trying to make some calculations. Okay, assume that he is trying to make some calculation, like you have add characters here, is trying to calculate some results and store it, right? Okay, calculate and stores. Okay, but he should have a way of storing it. Now you have another function which is trying to print the values. So what does print values do? Print value, what he will do, he will just print the contents, internal contents that he has. Okay, so this is just a he will have just const access to the members, and he will just print the contents whatever that he has. He's not going to make any changes to the variables that he has. So it is a safe function. You would say you can just call this as a safe functions. So no matter how many times that you call uh, on the same class, the contents of this are not changed. Okay, I repeat, the contents of this are not changed no matter how many types you call this. Okay, whereas if you call set symbol, okay, so the moment you call that set symbol, what is happening? Okay, the state of this class is getting changed, meaning some content of these classes are getting changed. Okay, so assume you are writing a driver, right? Okay, what you will do, you're trying to, in C you would have written open a file, read it, write it, okay, or set some characteristics of the file or a file or a IO device. Okay, so what will set characteristics do? Set or ioctl functions that you are called. What will it will do? It will try to make changes to the device. Good settings, it will change. Few of the settings it will change. So it is a bit dangerous.
Means it is the working of the constant device. Means the constant part is doing stable one, right? Whenever you are using that constant word, so that part of that function will be
That function will not make any changes
will not
to
change.
the
Yes.
contents of it. That is what we are trying to say.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
when
that
you
one I understood. My question is that mutable. You use that mutable one.
correct. So I'll
Yes.
tell you. So see, when you use constants, these variables are not changed. Okay, but there are variables, okay, which whether no matter which you want to change, even when you call the constant functions. Okay, so the change that happens on this variable, okay, will not affect your system. Okay, so it depends on how you write your system. You have a system wherein there are 4 variables. If it changes now, then you feel that okay, there is something serious happening. Okay, but you have a dummy variable like temporal variable. Okay, no matter what you write into it, right? It really doesn't matter. It is not going to affect my state of the class. You understood, right? So on for those variables, you declare this as mutable, and inside this functions, constant functions, if you want to make any changes to this variable or try to store it, try to make some calculations and store the results inside it, you can store it. You got what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, understood. But that mutable part, I'm not able to understand.
See, that is what
Why
I'm trying to
we
tell,
are
right?
using
If
the
you
mutable.
remove this mutable, okay, will you be able to make changes to this result? Will this function get compiled? Let's see. I said add character is a constant, right?
We can't change because it is constant.
It is constant. Which is constant? This
Yes.
function is constant.
Yes.
So what does constant means? You are not allowed to change all variables
Yes.
in your class. Any variables you are not
Okay.
able to change.
Yes.
Okay, but you want some exception. You want some exception among my five variables. There is one variable which I would like to change by a constant function.
Okay. By using constant also we can change, you are saying.
Yeah, that's
From
what I'm trying
mutable.
to say. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So using a constant function, you can change this mutable. That's what I said.
Okay. Means
So
mutable is above constant, you are saying. That is the thing.
the
After
mutable
using
is
constant also, means after using constant also you can change that value by
Correct.
using mutable.
By placing this variable as, by making this variable as mutable.
Okay.
So it is like some temporary values which you would store, which you used to store, like the results. Or it is up to you whether you are using to store it or collect some temporary data during buffering and all. We can use it. Okay. Okay. So characters. Okay. So the next keyword which I wanted to have is, it's the same, I think, which I covered, static. Okay. I think static, I think I have explained earlier, it's the same. Only thing is we can have functions are also static, but how and why we can use it. Okay. We'll just rename it. What is a significant? Selected something. Okay. Do this. We'll close it and come back. Okay. So before I start, okay, in your C code, right? Have you ever used static keyword? Any uh, any major things that
Yes,
you
by
could achieve?
using
Yeah, please. Like
mostly in that static keyword is using for that means in scope if you use that static keyword, the whole function it will be called.
means
Means it is initiated means static keyword file means static a is equal to by example static a is equal to 2. So that plus plus a means in the whole function it will be called. Means in auto it will be changed only once,
okay.
but in static in whole function it will call. Means if the variable is like static a is equal to that whole function 2 plus 1 is 3, then 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. It will come like that. Means whole function it will become. Means if it will go for that auto one, only once it will be changed, like 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. 3 3 3 all time it will become 3 3 3. But in static it will become 3 4 5 like that only. Means whole function it will be run.
Okay. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
trying to increment. Okay. Same.
Yes.
So okay, same. So static keywords are, I mean, they are common variables which are used between between the objects that you create, like what we did in double, right? So one important was you can declare if you have any constants, like you can declare them as static. So all the instances will you share it. Okay.
Means first and yeah.
Yeah.
You can say.
So the other one was right. The other way of using is you want to have some file descriptors, okay, which you want to share between different applications. Like in technically how you do is you have a file descriptor like in Linux. You open a file and if you want to close it, you can close it. Okay.
What is file descriptor?
Have you ever written any C programming on and with respect to file operations?
No, I can use.
Okay. So file descriptor is like okay, file descriptor is it's like okay, if you want to write some contents onto a file, right? Okay, you will open the file. Okay, you call a open function to a file. Okay, that the open function will return you some unique number, 1 2 3 4. So for it will return some unique number. Okay, using that unique number you can write some contents into the file. Okay, so you can write the contents into the file. So if you have a class which will do some operations onto a file descriptor, right? So assume that the first class has opened the file, so the other classes can use the file descriptors. They don't need to open the file again and again and again. So like in your code, you mentioned, right, you have a counter that is mentioned, that you have mentioned. Okay, every time if the function is called, you are trying to initialize the variable again and you are not able to store the results. Okay, so here what we can do is, I mean, in practical application is with respect to file descriptors or sockets or servers, where once the server starts, that's done, right? So unless all the instances are killed or your application stops, you don't want to reinitialize it again. Okay, in cases you can use it. Okay, so for us, we'll stick to some index or counting programs. Okay, so assume you have an index, so which is trying to keep how many instances of the class that you are trying to create. Okay, what we can do is we can in all the constructors that we have, we can increment it. Okay, so we can just do a this is one constructor, this is another constructor, so this is another constructor. In all, no matter which constructor you call, okay, using that you want to increment number of instances that it get created. Like how many instances that I have here of this class is 2. So when I print the contents of it, right, the moment you create 2 objects, okay, I call print value here. So now if you want to print the number of instances, right? So whether you are using I mean, you are trying to print contents of first element of the array or second element of the array, the data should remain the same. Okay. So let's see, in print while we'll add an entry to print him. Okay. Let's see, we'll compile this. I'll correct the name writer. But declared. That is because okay, don't know what happened. Okay, I didn't save the file maybe. Okay, so it got compiled. Okay, let's run. Okay, now if you see the index, okay, or a counter, let's rename this to counter than index. Okay, I just renamed it to instance counters. Where is it? Why this file? Okay, now if you see instance counter is showing as 2. Okay, okay, I just made it. Just, okay. Okay, so the instant counter is printing it as 2. So because we created 2 objects, it is printing it as 2. Okay, so whether you access it via variable of 0 or 1, it is sharing the content. Like how many instances that you created, it is uh, it's storing it and saving it. Now we'll see. We'll try to create 20. Okay. Okay, they are not initialized, right? So they are not initialized, so it's going to go big. We'll try to have what we'll do. We'll comment this. Okay, for some time. and see this. Okay, I've just created 20. Okay, so it just created 20 objects. Okay, instances. Then when destroying it, right? When it's destroying, we printed what was the content of instance counter. Now it became 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, and all. Okay, now we can do some magic here when objects are getting destroyed, right? So when we are creating the object, we were trying to increment it, but when we are destroying the object, we are not trying to destroy or reduce here. We'll make the changes so that we can have a number of objects which are actually there. Okay, I will just go to the destructor of this. So the destructor is here, something which is followed by here. So the moment so we can decrement it once. Or let's do something like this. So we'll print what we had earlier, or and then we'll try to decrement it. Okay, so it's like it will print 20, or we will do something like this. We'll do a pre-decrement. So once the first object gets destroyed, it will print as 19. See, 19, 18, 17, 16, so on. So next 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and gone. So all the objects are created and destroyed. So, and the static variable is is trying to share the contents between objects which were there or getting destroyed. Okay, so we can use it for this as things. Okay, so the actual use cases of these keywords would be when you are trying to have file descriptors. Okay, you can initialize the file descriptor using a constructor. Okay, and no matter how many instances you have, you can all the instances can try to use the file descriptor. Okay, then when each instance of the object is getting destroyed, right, you can see if there are no further instances at the end, you can write a function to close the file descriptor. Okay, so it's like opening a port, or you can open a hardware and share it between different resources or different threads which are trying to use it, or different tasks which are trying to use it. And once all your operations are done and all your tasks are done or closed, okay, at the end you are trying to exit your application, right? Okay, that's a place where you can close your hardware or resource and
Sir, it
close.
is significant means that file handling, right? You're
Yes.
saying? Yeah, file handling. The different functions means you can open the function, read the function,
Hmm.
so that after the completion of the function, you can close that one. Right?
Correct.
Like
That is
that.
one
Yeah.
example. Okay, but if you have done any serial port programming, and also you can use it. Like once you open a serial port, what you would do? You can, once you change the settings and all, you can use it. You can do as many reads and writes you want. Okay, and once you no longer read that serial port, right, you can close it. Okay, so only thing that you need is file descriptor, which is shared between different instances of that. Okay, any further doubts on this static? There is this static variable, then there is something like static function. Okay, maybe you guys can take this as a this thing exercise to come to understand what does static function do. Okay, and come back. So that should that would actually make that should be a good example for you guys. So if you prepare this right, then come prepare with this. So you can give me some examples. Okay, what you wanted to do. So if you don't understand, I can explain that. I'll also revise this, or I'll explain this static functions. Okay. So what is the significance of it? How and where you can use it, and all we can see it. So it has a lot of use cases in mainly in design patterns. We use this static functions and all. So I'll cover this in the next class. Okay. Okay. That's all, guys. That's all I had for you guys for today. I hope this class was useful, because the terms that we covered, like mutable, is like if you use it only, then it makes sense, but may not be much. But const and static are key things which you would always see, or always be using. Okay. So mutable is like dummy. It's there, but very rarely we'll use. But constant static are main thing that you'd use a lot. Okay, guys, that's all I had. Group, fine. You had any doubts?
No. Yeah.
So was this class helpful for you?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys. So just maybe I would like to know, like, you guys have ever done any Linux programming or not? So that next time when I give you examples, maybe I should refer. So Sakalya, you are RTOS background, or what is your background?
Means in validation part I am working right now.
I mean, have you ever done programming, or on which one?
Yes, that unit testing. In unit testing, I have done that bullseye coverage. I am using that one. So
Okay,
from
there
there,
you would be
I
using,
find
right,
out.
classes and all.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
There
test
only I am
functions.
using that one.
Okay, G
Correct.
tests.
What are yes?
Good.
Unit testing.
Unit testing means C++. Templates, function templates. And Guru, you
In
are?
Visual Studio.
Actually, I'm just 1.5 year experience, so I'm
That's
working
fine.
on C only. I have not worked on any Linux and C++.
Okay. In C, in which Windows, RTOS?
Yes.
Windows,
Windows only, like
Visual
yeah,
Studios.
not on RTOS. Yes, visuals. Actually, we have one application called CCS, Cross Core Embedded
We'll stop
Studios.
recording.